Hi, my name is Eduardo and I'm the author of an Emacs package called eev. In this video I'm going to suppose that you know what is Emacs and what is eev, and I'm going to show how to install eev and how to navigate it using just the three basic keys. So let me start Emacs here, and let me load my nodes. So part 0 of this video is about installation and part 1 is about navigation. The first step is to run meta-x package initialize. It takes a few seconds, and then we have to run meta-x list packages. And we have to wait a bit because for a few seconds the mode line is going to say package menu loading, and we have to wait until it says just package menu. And note that when we do that, we are in this listing of the packages, the built-in packages, the available packages, and so on. But note that now we are in line 257, which means that we are in the middle of this buffer here. So if we scroll up, we see lots of packages that are available but not installed, and eev is one of these packages. So if I click on eev here, and I click on install here, and I say yes, then Emacs is going to install eev, and it just does that. It just installs eev, but it doesn't change any defaults, it doesn't change anything. The thing is that I wanted to make eev both beginner friendly and old timer friendly, and the old timers hate having their defaults changed. So I found a way to make it easy to activate eev and easy to enter the tutorial, and this is this allows people to install eev and just play with during 5 minutes in one day and 5 minutes another week and so on, but they're going to have it installed but not active by default. And so to activate eev and to enter the tutorial, we have to type meta-x eev-beginner, and what happens is that the mode is going to say, the mode line is going to say fundamental eev, which means that the minor mode eev is on, and we are going to enter the main tutorial, which is here, find-emacs-keys-intro. And if you read the tutorial, you're going to learn how to install eev in a way that's not the one that we just did. So you can ignore this section. And then you have a section about how Emacs deals with Lisp expressions and how you can execute Lisp expressions from anywhere. And then you have a section that explains how some of these elisp expressions can be used as hyperlinks. But let me go back here. At any point we can type meta-x eev-beginner, and we'll go back to this tutorial. And the trick is that to navigate eev, you just need to remember two keys. But let me just show something for the beginners that are watching this. That is that sometimes Emacs is going to take you to some situation that you don't know what that is, and you don't know how to leave. For example, if you type a complex sequence of keys, for example this one, then Emacs is going to show here the part of the sequence of keys that you have typed, and it's not very obvious how to quit that. I can quit it with Ctrl-G, but that's just because I know how to use Emacs. If you don't know how to do that, the main trick is that you can go to the file menu and quit. In this case, it didn't work because it combined this sequence of keys here with the sequence of keys that I was in the middle of. But if I choose quit again, we exit Emacs and we can enter Emacs again. And now if you type meta-x eev-beginner, we are going to get eev mode activated, and we are going to go to the main tutorial. But I promised that I was going to, I was going to explain some things about the main keys and the navigation. Here are the main keys. You can navigate through all the tutorials by just learning these 3 keys. Meta E is to execute the elisp hyperlink in the current line, and it works like this. When you type meta E, Emacs goes to the end of the line, and then it finds the elisp expression before point, which in the case is this, and then it executes that as a small elisp program. So if I type meta E in this line, it is going to execute this elisp expression here, and it's going to take me to section 2 of the main tutorial. And if I execute this elisp expression here, I'm going to go to the section 3 of the main tutorial. So let's try this. If I type meta E here, I go to section 3 of the main tutorial that explains how to use elisp hyperlinks. But you can forget practically everything, and you just need to remember meta E and meta J. And meta J is a key that you can use to jump to lots of places. If you type just meta J, you're going to jump to this mysterious buffer here. And the important thing is that it has a header that is beginner friendly, and it has something here that is totally beginner unfriendly and that we need to ignore for this moment. And this header here has some important hyperlinks. These 2 hyperlinks here go to another tutorial, one that is a kind of an index of the main keys of Emacs, but it starts with an index of the main keys of eev. So if I execute this, I go to this tutorial that is called find-emacs-keys-intro, in its section 1, and note that this thing here is a kind of copy of the instructions that I showed in my notes. So this thing explains meta E, meta J, and meta K. Note that these things are hyperlinks. For example, this hyperlink here explains in details how meta J works, and explains what this header means. Here you have explanations of other keys, and in the other sections of this tutorial you have explanations for some of the main concepts of Emacs and some of the main keys. And if you follow a hyperlink like this one, it is going to open the manual of Emacs in a section called quitting. You can navigate this manual using these buttons here. It is in a mode called info. So most of the entries about keys of Emacs keys have hyperlinks that point to the Emacs manual. For example, here you will find an explanation of how to quit complex comments. So it explains that if you type a mysterious sequence like this and you don't know how to exit it, you just have to type Ctrl G. Well, whatever. And that's it. Just let me show very quickly one of the things that the tutorial explains is one of the things that I considered that are one of the killer features of eev. No, let me explain one thing later, one thing before that. If we type meta J, we go to this page here, and these 3 lines explain how we can use meta J with numeric prefixes. So if we type meta2 meta-j, we go straight to this tutorial that explains the keys. And if we type meta5 meta-j, we go to the main tutorial. And in section 5 or section 6 of this tutorial, no, section 6, sorry, we have explanations about something called eepitch, that is a way to control shells and things that look like shells from Emacs. Here we have a short example. If I type F8 6 times here, the first 3 F8s will set up a target buffer here running a shell, and the other 3 F8s are going to send these commands to a shell. So we have a shell running inside Emacs, and instead of having to remember the commands or having to type the commands by hand, we have the commands here stored in our notes or in our tutorials, and we can send them straight to the shell, and the shell is going to think that we have just typed those commands by hand. It's going to behave as if we have typed those commands by hand. That's it for the moment. That's what I wanted to show in this tutorial. Sorry, I forgot to explain what is meta-k. Meta-k is a way to go back. If you follow a hyperlink, it usually opens a new buffer, and usually you can go back from a new buffer. This is explained here. You can go back by killing the new buffer, which corresponds to closing a new window in a browser, or deleting the site that you just visited, so the browser is going to take you to what you were visiting before that. But technically, what meta-k does is that it runs a function called ae-kill-this-buffer that kills the current buffer and makes Emacs display the buffer that you were visiting before that one. That's what I wanted to show in this tutorial, so that's it. Thanks for watching. Sorry, I usually define so many keys in my .emacs and they're not available in this demo. That's it.